Hello, everyone, and welcome to the day 4 of APNIC 52 conference. You're joining the Policy SIG 1 or Open Policy Meeting 1. And the chair of the Open Policy Meeting is Bertrand Cheria. He's in the acting role. And the co-chair is Ching Heng Yu. Before I pass the microphone to them, I'd just like to run the housekeeping notes. And I'm sure you're all very familiar with the housekeeping notes now if you have joined the day 1 to day 3 sessions. But if you're new and joining this session today, it's quite simple. Please be mindful of the code of conduct, which is published on the APNIC 52 website, as well as in the chat box. If you have a question, please raise your hand, or you want to make a comment, please raise your hand. And when it's your turn, you're allowed to speak. You can chat with other participants in the chat box. If you have any comments to make, questions, you can also put those questions in the chat box. So now it's my pleasure to invite Bertrand Cheria and Ching Heng to open the open policy meeting at APNIC 52. Over to you both.
Thank you very much, Sunny. Hello to everyone from wherever you are in the world. So it's good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Wow, it's filling up. That's a good sign. Today we're going to have 7 proposals to discuss, which is a record. So please stay seated and let's start now. Ching Heng, you have the mic.
Thanks, Bertrand and Sunny, and welcome all of you to attend this Open Policy Meeting Session 1. In this session, we have some presentations and some policy proposals to be discussed. And Sunny will present the SIG and the election. So first. So may I switch to the speaker, Sunny?
Thank you, and Ching Heng, and this is probably the last time I'll be presenting this in this conference. I've been presenting this in the last 2 days, at Cooperation SIG and AR SIG, and also at Routing Security SIG yesterday. Let me start my slides. Yeah. So SIG and IANA RC elections 2021 happening here at APNIC 52. We have a number of positions open for various SIGs, including the policy SIG chair and co-chair as well. Bertrand Cheria, he's in the acting role since the previous chair, Suman Ahmed Bashir, he got appointed as an EC member. So since then, Bertrand is in the acting position, so we need to fill that position. And Bertrand is a co-chair currently, so we have to fill his position in case, if he get elected as a chair. But also, as you can see on the screen, we have a number of other positions as well, including the IANA RC elections too. We have a 1 seat that's elected by the community to represent APNIC in the IANA review committee. Call for nominations opened on 6th of August and closed on 6th of September. We did receive quite a number of nominations. The SIG term will be for 2 years, starting from end of this conference to the end of APNIC 56 conference. IANA RC term will be from 1st of January 22nd next year to 31st of December 2023. Here are the nominations for various positions, and you can also see it online on APNIC 52 website. Please have a look at their nominee statements, which are also published online. Voting eligibility, you must be registered for this conference, and I hope you're all registered, you're joining the session, and must also be registered and attended one of the last 8 conferences. That's all the way from APNIC 51 to APNIC 44. So if you meet these 2 criteria, you'll be eligible for voting in these elections. You will have, as an attendee, you will have a one vote for each individual, and you can use the big pulse voting system, the same system that we used in the previous elections for APNIC EC and NRO-NC elections. The voting already started. It will close today at 2 p.m. UTC+8. And this is your first time taking part in these elections online with APNIC. Once you logged in, and you already logged in, you're accessing the Zoom link. So if you can go back to the login and access my APNIC dashboard, then you will see the Vote Now button on the left image. And then once you click on it, you see the candidates and their elections on the right image, as you can see in the My APNIC. Declaration of results will be announced at today at 3:15 UTC+8, and the election chair will announce the results. The election chair, as appointed by APNIC EC, is Kuwe Wu, and he appoints the scrutineers as well. Responsibilities: he oversees the election process, appoint the election scrutineers, declare the election results today at 3:15 p.m. UTC+8, and resolve any disputes that he may receive. Election officers are Andre and Connie, appointed by the APNIC EC for the NRO-NC election, and for SIG and INR-RC election, that's myself, Sunny. And our responsibilities are to administer the call for nominations, which we already done, manage the voting process, which is underway, retrieve the online voting results. We will do that once the voting is closed, report the results to the election chair, and answer any queries from the members and voters. Election scrutineers, as appointed by the election chair, Champika Vijayatunga from ICANN and Madhvi Gokul from AFRINIC, they will observe the downloading of election results virtually from the election system, and they will notify the election chair in case of any anomaly or issues are identified. Any notice of disputes must be lodged with the election chair. The email ID is electionchair@apnic.net. No later than 1 hour before the scheduled declaration of election results, that is 3:15 UTC+8 today. Just a reminder, voting is now open, and you feel free to please participate in these elections. The voting will close at 2 p.m. UTC+8 today, and then the election results will be announced in AMM2. Thank you, Ching Heng.
Thanks, Sunny. And is there any question for Sunny's presentation? If there is no any question right now, I will give the next presentation about can you see this slide?
Yes, we can see slides. Yep.
Oh, okay.
All good.
So welcome all of you. I will talk about the parasitic administration, Chair Chair and Chin Heng Ku. And the parasitic charter is to develop policies related to the management and use of internet number resources. These include policies for resource allocation, recovery, and transfer, and for resource registration within WHOIS reverse DNS, RPKI, and the related services. Agenda of today's open policy meeting, session 1, includes chair welcome remark and SIG election and the SIG administration and the policy implementation report. After these presentations, we will enter 3 policy proposals discussion. Proposal 135 to 137. After 15 minutes break, we will have open policy meeting session 2 for 1 hour. In the beginning, we also have the SIG administration report by Puchen Chair, and then we will have 4 policy proposals discussion 138 to 141. And we hold the policy proposals webinar on the 1st September. It's the first time that was organized in the APNIC region. We were very glad to receive overwhelming response and the participation. There was 37 members of the community join the webinar. Thanks all participants. In this webinar, authors share and read out proposals for community feedback and the comments. We received many feedback, including the strong interest from the community for such webinar in the future. Steps of policy implementation include some stage and steps such as proposal submission and the mailing list discussion before the open policy meeting shown in the green region of the figure. The policy proposal then need to be discussed and made consensus at the policy SIG and the member meeting. After the consensus has been reached, policy proposal enter comment period. And after EC endorsement for the proposal, it enter a editorial comment period. Finally, APNIC Secretariat take the job to make the implementation of the policy. Every policy proposal needs consensus to be reached in the community. Consensus means a general agreement that taken into consideration about comments on the mailing list and at the open policy meeting. Community could have objections for the proposal. Minor objection means some problems may occur. Major objection means the major problem will occur for parts of the community. And we hope participants should work together to resolve objection. In this discussion of the policy proposal, please be mindful of the code of conduct. About the gaining consensus, Chair will consider merely this discussion at the open policy meeting and the room pause. We will use room pause today. Pause will be enabled after each proposal is presented and discussed. Pause will pop up on your screen. Once the consensus is closed, pause will be displayed to all. Especially mention that IR, ICANN, and the PTI secretarial staff do not participate in the consensus. This slide shows some URL of APNIC PDP 6 guidelines and the mailing list for your reference. Thanks for your listening. It's on my presentation. So if there is no question for my presentation, we will move to the next presentation, the policy implementation report by Sunny.
Thank you, Ching Heng. I'll share my slide.
Okay, thanks, Sunny.
All right. This is the policy implementation report from the last conference. We had just one proposal that reached consensus at APNIC 51, that is Prop 133, clarification on sub-assignments. Just a small update to the policy document, just simplifying the text for the criteria there, 2.2.3 assigned address space, removing the specific documentation purpose required and may not be subdelegated to exclusive use within the internet infrastructure they operate. Now, this doesn't change any of our procedures or hostmaster evaluations of the request. It's just a simple text change in the policy document to clarify the purpose of that section. That's all, Ching Heng, unless anyone have any questions. And this was implemented on 28th of May, 2021.
Okay, thanks, Sunny. And thanks for your presentation. And you share the information about the progress of the policy implementation. So is there any questions right now? If there is no any questions, we will go to make some discussion of the new policy proposals. So we will discuss the proposal 135 is documentation. It will be presented by Amita.
Thank you,
If you
Ching-Hen.
get ready, you can share your screen.
Right, thank you. I'll just share my screen and hope it is visible to all. I hope it's visible. Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
So hello, everyone. This proposal which Simon and I had submitted is a very small, tiny change in the text. Nothing significant changes would occur in the APNIC policy document or anything. The issue was that it was observed that section 5.6 and section 5.6.1 had certain sections which were repetitive. I will not go into the text in details, but the same is also there on the website. So the basic objective of ours was to make this the documentation more simple, to make it easier to understand for any APNIC members and easy to adopt, and remove the duplication. So we looked at this situation in different RIRs. What we observed, and we may be wrong somewhere, and please correct us, is that ARIN did not seem to have a definite documentation on it. RIPE NCC did not seem to have a consolidated document on it. AFRINIC had a more precise and concise documentation of this particular part, and LACNIC was focused more on the IPv4 part of the documentation. And that led us to think that, why not have a more consolidated one? And what we simply propose is that we merge 5.6.6 and 5.6.1 and make it into just one section, which is 5.6. And we reformatted the text in this particular manner. In case you want, I can read it out, but it is there for you all to look at. It's just merging and making it into 3 bullets and placing all the requirements into one place. There are no disadvantages which we could foresee. The advantage was that we remove duplication and make the document more precise and easy for people to understand, rather than having 2 sections. We do not see any impact on resource holders, or rather it simplifies it for them. And this is what we, and this is what we summarize, that we wanted to simplify it and have one section, remove the repetitions, make it easier, simpler for the community to understand and adopt, and remove duplications. Because that was one of the work of the policy development, review group of the policy document. So that's all. In case you have any questions, I'll be happy to take. And if you want to see the section which we added, you are happy to read it. Ching-Hen, over to you. If there's any question, there is hardly any change, so I don't think there should be any concerns from anyone, but happy to take questions. And Simon, in case I've missed out something, please do add.
Okay, thanks, Amita. And is there any question for the audience? And this proposal, the purpose is to make the document more easier and more readable and more simple. So if you have any question, you can leave the message or raise your hand. So we wait 10 minutes for some questions.
No questions also means everyone agrees.
Okay, so if there is no questions, so we are please APNIC make room pause enable, and the pause will pop up on your screen. And we will leave 1 minute for the pause.
Just a reminder for the APNIC staff and RIR staff and ICANN staff, please don't take part in this poll. Thank you.
Yes, we use room port this time, so we do not use the confirm. So we just leave the 10 minutes for the poll. Okay, have 3 minutes, 1 minute. Okay. So I close the poll and share the poll result to all of you. And so there in the mailing list, there is still no any questions for this proposal. So we just make some discussion for the final result. So wait a minute. So the chair make the decision to final decision for the consensus because according to the mailing list and the room port chair decides this proposal 135 has reached consensus. Congratulations, Amita. Thanks for your presentation. So let's go to the next proposal. The registration requirement is presented by Simon. So you can share your screen.
Ching Heng, this is Sunny. Before, if I may interrupt, please. Before we go on to the next proposal presentation, there's a question in the chat. If you could please answer that one from Aftab.
Oh,
I know you have
okay.
presented it, but just reminding you, thanks. Aftab is asking why we're not using confer.
Also, it's been more because after the discussion with the policy chairs, we think the poll is easy to be used. We don't need to be logged in using the conference. So it's a general consensus. So to make the audience to easier to reply their opinions. So we choose the poll to make some here.
Thank you, Ching Heng, and sorry for that interruption.
Okay. Thanks. So you, Simon, make the preparation. You can make the talk.
Yeah. Hi, Ching Heng. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Simon, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. Thank you for giving me the options. So this is a new proposal, Prop 136. Me and Amrita Di, we are proposing this one. This is not very much changing in the present way of working. Mainly from the working group, the observation was done that we need some changes in the registration requirement, and from there we are proposing this one. So I will not go, as like Amrita Di, I will not go into details in the text. So what we found that in section 5.3, so there are three different sections for each protocol. For example, IPv4, for IPv4 there is section 5.3.1. For IPv6 there is 5.3.2, and for AS numbers, so there is another section called 5.3.3. All the texts are almost like similar. We found most of the texts are repetitive, so that's why we were proposing that we should make this text more simpler, more concise, and it should be easy to understand by our community members. And we try to find out that if there is any duplication, we can remove it or not. So we try to find out that what are the other regions are doing. We found that in other regions they have different sections. But for us, we try to propose that we should have only 2 sections. One section will talk about the registration requirement for the protocols and the AS numbers, and the second section it will talk about the updating the registration details. So I'm not going to read out. So we are proposing that 5.3, the registration requirements, it should have only 2 sections, 5.3.1. In 5.3.1, if you go through the text, you will find that it will talk about the autonomous system number and the address registration requirements only. So in the first 3 lines is about AS numbers. Then it's talk about the IPv4 and IPv6. And the last one, 5.3.2, what are the updating the registration details, what the IR has to do about the updating the WHOIS records. And the last line is about the policy, that yes, he has to maintain the routing policy, which is given by an ethnic, right? So very simple, we try to do. So everything will be in 2 sections only, 5.3.1 and 5.3.2. So advantages, obviously, this policy will make the registration requirement more simpler, concise, and easy to understand. And yes, there was some duplication. We tried to remove everything, and we didn't find any kind of disadvantages. There is no impact because it's only kind of like an ornamental change, and it is only to make the lines more simpler for our community members. Summary, we try to avoid the repetition of the similar kind of requirements for each protocols and AS numbers, and we try to make it only into 2 sections. The policy would make the sections more simpler, concise, easier for the community to understand and adopt, and also we remove all the duplications. Thank you, Chair. If there are any question, me and Amrita can take that.
Okay, thanks, Simon, and for your presentation. It's to this proposal is also to make the document to make more easier to understand and remove more duplication. Is there any questions or comments right now? You can raise your hand or leave your message. We leave the 10 seconds for extra. Is there any comments? If there is no questions, we will also please Epic make the room pause enable, and the poll will pop up on your screen. We also leave 1 minute for the pause. So we have the 20 minutes. So, okay. So if I will close the poll and share the result to all of you. And the chairs have some discussion for the final decision of the consensus. Because there is no opposed opinions in the mailing list and in the poll. So chairs decides this proposal 136 has reached consensus. And thanks, Simon.
Thanks, Ching Heng. Thanks, Chair.
Thanks. So let's go. We have a half hour. So let's go to a discussion. The next policy proposal, proposal 137. So this is IPv6 assignment for associate members presented by FTAP.
Thank you, Chair. Aftab Siddiqui here. If I may share my slide deck.
You can share your screen.
All right, please acknowledge if you can see my screen.
Yes, it's good.
Okay, perfect. Right, so the proposal is IPv6 assignment for associate members. So what is the problem we are trying to address? The problem is very simple. Of APNIC has, I'm not talking about the NIRs because some NIRs have raised this concern, but I'm specifically talking about APNIC. APNIC has multiple tiers of membership. The first one is called the associate tier. With that associate tier, you do not get any address space, whether it is IPv4 or IPv6. And APNIC member who already have received IPv4 address space is directly eligible to get IPv6 address space. But if APNIC member only looking for the IPv6 allegation, they have to justify their requirement to become a very small member from associate. So it is exactly the same justification if you are doing it for IPv4 only. And if you have justified IPv4 only, then you will get the IPv6 by default. And there is a get IPv6 button will be enabled on your My APNIC portal, and then you will press it and you will get the IPv6 allocation from the APNIC. The problem is in the IPv4 exhaustion world, we are of course definitely heading towards it. We only have IPv4 crumbs left with us. The policy limits anyone who wants to do IPv6 only, most specifically the PIE space, the provider independent space. For personal use, we are asking people to, we are encouraging people to use IPv6, but if somebody wants to use it for the personal use, they have to rely it on their service provider. Otherwise, the fee is just too much just to get an IPv6, because then you have to pay for the very small. You have to pay according to the HD ratio of IPv6. This is perceived as a barrier to deploy IPv6, not for the service provider. Of course, they almost everybody has it, but small enterprises or the researchers or the smaller universities who wants to do it. What we are proposing is just remove this APNIC 144. There is a guideline which says APNIC for the IPv6 allocation assignment request. The requirement for initial IPv6 provider independent assignment is defined in APNIC 127 section 10.1.4, and use the same Go IPv6 criteria which is applicable to those who have existing IPv4 allocations. The associate member must agree to use and announce the IPv6 provider independent space within 12 months. So if you are requesting for this space, according to this policy, you should use it within 12 months. And one question raised by the Secretariat was how long they should announce it to be eligible under this statement. So number one is, of course, if they are using it, that shouldn't be a problem. But if they got the location and they are not using it for the 12 months, that's again a clear case. But if they used it for a couple of weeks and out of the whole 12 months. Maybe it's more of a discussion or a conversation with the hostmaster with hostmasters and the member to understand what their criteria is, or maybe they need it or not. There is one recommendation, which is, of course, outside the policy jurisdiction. Within the policy, we cannot discuss, we don't have the capacity to discuss the fees, membership fees, and any other fees associated with that. And this proposal does touch upon on that topic. So it is just a recommendation for the APNIC EC that allow associate member to get IPv6. Right now, if they get an IPv6, they of course move from associate to the different tiers. So allow associate member to apply for IPv6 without any hassle, and keep them within that membership tier. Yes, how it is going to implement in the NIR where they don't have associate membership, I would leave that with the NIR to come up with the policy which doesn't conflict with this one, because as per the guidelines, NIR policy should not conflict with the APNIC policy. I don't see any conflict as it is, because you don't have any associate membership. But I would recommend NIRs to support your membership as well and provide IPv6 with the minimum, with a maximum cost benefit and minimum fees to them. Disadvantages and advantages. It's more of an incentive to small enterprises, academics, and personal use, people who want to use it for personal use without spending a lot of money. Disadvantage is that there will be a small overhead on the hostmasters, because now they have to go back to smaller membership tier base and ask them the questions. But this can be automated, I believe so, of course, but somebody has to look at these responses. There will be, this might, I don't think so that there will be thousands and thousands of IPv6 PI requests coming in, but this might increase the router table because of the IPv6 allocation we'll be doing after this is accepted. So this is the proposal. If you have any question, I am more than happy to answer.
Thanks, After. And if you have any questions, there are some questions. Can you explain a little more about why becoming a very small members is not good enough? It's just a matter of cost.
To Marsan, yes, it is a matter of cost. It is for a personal use or a research work use. I mean, for a research work, if you have a very defined policy, you can get a temporary allocation from the APNIC. But if you want to use it for personal use, of course, you have to go into that minimum, which is allowed 1,100 something, 1,200 something Australian dollars per year, as per the SG ratio of /48. Yes, cost is the biggest issue.
Okay. Because this proposal impact many members a lot, so there are many discussion and a mailing list. So let's see, is anyone you have any question? You can raise your hand, or leave the question.
I have just stopped sharing just to make sure that I can read the chat, because it's difficult to share and read chat as well.
Is there anyone who wanna ask the question right now? No?
So there's one question from Terence. So yeah, so I'm currently a very small member with only one IPv6 allocation. If so this policy is only suggesting a /48. If you fall under /48, then you may request, if this is approved and APNIC approves the cost of that as well, which is again to clarify outside the policy, then that /48 should, I cannot say that it must, but it should fall back into the associate membership and a reduction in the fee as well.
The team say RAP has a free IPv6 allocation. So is there any question or comments? For IPv6 should be facilitated as much as we can. Jody say that. But so if we leave the 30 seconds for any other questions. So if there is no other questions, so we will please the APNIC to make the room call enable, and the pause will pop up on your screen. So, and so we leave the 10 seconds. Yes. Because it's okay. The time's up. So I close this room call and share the result to all of you. So because there are some the neutral in the mailing list, we makes there are some cost implication for this policy. So it's up to EC to make the final decision. Your policy is approved by the community. So chairs make some discussion for the final decision. So wait a moment. Okay, so according to the mailing list discussion and the room call, chairs decide this proposal 137 has reached consensus. Since after to make this proposal, so even EC still have make more discussion for the implementation of this proposal. And okay, so is there any question for right now? Okay, so after I say EC have the right, so the final decision should be during AMM. Okay. So we have finished the 3 policy proposal discussion in this agenda. So is there any comment or questions or suggestions for this session? So there is no any other questions. So do I leave the time to Sunny? Or we will finish this session?
Thanks, Ching Heng. We still have quite a lot of time. Either I mean, it's up to you, either we take a long break of about 30 minutes, or if you want to bring forward a proposal from the other session to this session, if the proposer is ready to present, it's up to you. What you'd like to do? You want to take a long break or bring forward a proposal from OPM 2 to OPM 1?
I discuss with Bertrand.
Okay, thanks.
So maybe we could go to the next the proposal 138. Sunny,
So would you like to go for the proposal from OPM 2?
Yeah,
I think that's Aftab's one. Aftab, would you like to present that now or in OPM 2?
I can do it, right? Just let me find out where it is.
Okay, sure. Take your time. Thanks, Aftab.
Oi, Chikati. Hello? Chikati ji.
Nimdem, could you please mute your microphone? Otherwise, we have to do it for you. Just mute microphone, please.
All right, I'm all set. Thank you, Nimdim, for very well-deserved distraction so that I'm ready now. All right, so this is my second proposal. Yeah, if those people who have heard me saying that I'm not going to propose anything ever, just forget about that. I'm still proposing. So moving on to the next one is proposal 138, restricting ASID in ROA. It should be called restricting ASID in the ROA management. What is it? It's those who are familiar with the RPKI and ROA creation, it's just a quick overview of what it is. So RFC 6482 defines the structure of the ROA, a profile of the ROA. As it says, a profile for route origin authorization. It defines what should be mentioned in a ROA. And one of the field is called ASID, which is the autonomous system identifier. It is defined in the RFC as the ASID field contains the AS number that is authorized to originate routes to the given IP address prefix. I'm reading from the text because as it is written in the RFC. Now, the problem is ASID is an integer value, and the RFC doesn't restrict the range of number which can be placed here. That's fine. RFC does its job very nicely. It clearly defines everything. But technically, the allocated ASIN should be allowed only. And the ASID or the origin AS, we call it from the operations point of view. When you go to the My APNIC account, it gives you a route management interface or the ROA management system, it is called, allows any number between 0 to 429, 496, 7295. This is the 32-bit boundary for AS number, which is fine. But the problem is that it includes many ranges which are marked as private, reserved, and unallocated. So APNIC, My APNIC ROA management interface doesn't restrict you from using those numbers. So for that interface, it is just a number. What I'm proposing is that the origin AS number or the AS ID should only should not contain these ASNs. For example, 33456 and the private ASN range and the reserved AS range, and in the 32-bit and 16-bit as well, or any unallocated ASN which IANA has not been hasn't allocated to the RIRs, which is clearly marked in the IANA database. So it should be restricted. Today, I can create a ROA with all these AS numbers. It is not restricted. RFC doesn't suggest to restrict anything, which is fine, but it is up to individual RIRs to do that. And the same policy should be applied to corresponding route and route 6 whois object. If you go through the whois management interface in the MyAPNIC, this is actually already restricted. It is not restricted on the ROA management interface. So it is it can be a UI issue and how APNIC manages the ROA management. But the ROA and the route 6 objects already in the database with private and reserved and allocated ASN should be revoked, deleted respectively after notifying the prefix holder, because you cannot ROAs APNIC has no right to go and delete them by themselves. So it has to be done by the members, but they cannot renew the certificate once it is expired. There were some discussions on the mailing list, and it was proposed by a few people that not necessarily we need a policy for this. It can be served by just a guideline that what can be in the ASID field and what you cannot use. If that can be clearly defined, because right now it is not there. But interestingly, there is no guideline for the whois restriction, which I mentioned, that in the route and route 6 through the whois management interface, you cannot use these AS number. APNIC implemented that, and there is no guideline. There was a blog post, thankfully mentioned by Tom from APNIC, but there is no well-defined guideline which says you can use these AS numbers and you cannot use these AS numbers. So if this can be served through guideline, I'm fine with it, but it should be clearly defined that this is the policy, this is the guideline for ROA management or whois management interface provided by MyAPNIC portal. If the Secretariat or the community believes that it should be a policy so that they can follow the policy accordingly, I'm okay for it. So I would request the chairs, if they can check the community consensus, whether they are happy with the policy or just with the guideline. So then I have to drop the policy and we can move with the guideline only. And just trying to go to the next slide. So what are the advantages and disadvantages? This will help APNIC members avoid mistakenly creating unnecessary ROAs with private and reserved unallocated resources. How big the problem is, not into 1,000, it's still in few hundred. So there are some ROAs within with resources within APNIC region, which they have reserved and unallocated ASNs. Does it make any difference? No, it doesn't do any harm to anything, but there is absolutely no need to have those ROAs in the ROA table. Disadvantages: there will be slight overhead initially to remove those ROAs and the route objects initially, but it's a few months job. Once it is done, then of course it will never happen. And then APNIC has to create a ROA, the origin AS check into the system, into the ROA management system. So this is my proposal. first thing, as I said, if the chairs can check if it is possible to ask the community whether they, I mean, I'll leave it the chair whether to check with the policy or guideline. If they agree with the policy, then whether they support it or not.
Thank you, Aftab. If there are no questions, we will ask you one question. What do you think this Prop 138 should be? A policy document or a guideline document?
Okay, so just a background. It's a good one. That I was doing so it was raised. I was doing a testing and I accidentally created route objects with private ASN. Route objects, of course, was also triggered. This triggered a discussion with a few people outside the APNIC region, and they said there should be route object, and which I absolutely agree. But nobody questioned about the ROAs. So everyone is happy with the private ROA. It's easy for APNIC or the RIR, any RIR, to delete a route object because there is no certificate involved in it. But for a ROA, APNIC has no right to delete that ROA. It is up to the member. If there is a policy, it gives them additional benefit to force revoking of those ROAs. If there is just a guideline, then of course it's a suggestion. It's not you cannot enforce it. But it only applies to those ROAs which are already in the system. Once they are out of the system, a guideline is more than enough. So right now, it's a more interesting thing. If APNIC can handle revoking those existing ROAs without a policy or only with the guideline, I'm happy with the guideline.
Thank you for the clarification, Aftab. So now I will launch the polling system.
Bertrand, sorry, there's a few hands raised. If you want to take those, please. Thanks.
Oh, yep. Okay, didn't see it. Sorry. So Tom Harrison has a question.
Hi, Aftab. I'm just wondering, for delegated engines, so people running krill or something like that, they can create their own rows and APNIC doesn't have any ability to revoke those rows. The only thing that APNIC could do in that case is revoke their resource certificates altogether. What should happen in that case, if anything, under this policy?
So one thing is, once it is approved, my plan is to take it to the to NLNet Labs to make it request not to allow them to create ROAs with unallocated or reserved ASNs. If there is an issue with that, then of course it's beyond the APNIC. I would say the working boundary. So yeah, that issue has to be resolved either by the krill operators themselves or the krill developers. Otherwise, this cannot be resolved. Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Fakrul, please go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, I got the similar question, which kind of an overlap what Tom says, and to add that one, it might be a very corner case. Like if I got a scenario where I need to run my own private ASN within my domain and do some validation with a different administrative domain, I say it like as a very corner case. So I might see like a small percentage of use cases where I would rather use the private ASN with a different administrator. So if you lock it completely, then there might be an issue on that one, maybe.
So I absolutely agree, and there can be a corner case, and in fact I am using that corner case with a cloud service provider where they give you a private ASN only, and that is resolved through Slurm, SLURM Slurm file, and you can inject any ROA which doesn't exist in the which is not coming through the repositories. So that's what I'm using, and it works very well. So I would recommend, if anybody wants to use a private ASN or a reserved ASN or unallocated ASN for raw creation, then it's better to use the slum file rather than the repositories. If that helps, Fakrul.
Yeah, makes sense. Thanks.
Vivek, you have the mic.
Thanks. Yes, Aftab, I just want a clarification on the removal of such route objects. As you said, there was a discussion on this on the mailing list. So we've had a case where we contacted a member and requested them to delete one of the route objects because it was referencing an ASN, which is now undelegated, but it was delegated when they created it, right? What they told us was that, yes, they're aware of this. They're in the process of decommissioning that network, but they told us they want to retain that route object for now for some kind of documentation purpose while they're going through this decommissioning. And they asked us, don't remove it for now. Once we're done, we'll remove it ourselves. So my question is, how do we handle these type of requests, if this goes through as a policy or a guideline?
So if it goes as a policy, then you can actually point them to the policy that, well, it goes against the policy and the members have to abide by the policy. But if it goes, goes as a guideline, then of course it's a relationship between the APNIC and the member. The nicest thing would be to come up with the idea that that it's not a valid argument, that they want to keep it as for the documentation or whatever purposes. But it is up to the host masters to make the call. I think there will be very few cases related to that, but it's not going to break the internet. So yeah, I'm not so fussed about it.
Yes, thanks. So, and I think that was the point. So if something like this is a policy, we can then tell you have to remove it. If it's a guideline, it's more of a suggestion, right? So we suggest you remove it. They could say, yes, we will do it, but we can't enforce it. So just sharing this.
There's one question from Masan, so let me respond to that. What is the impact on NIRs? So of course, NIRs are doing this for their members. I strongly believe that it should be implemented by the NIRs as well, that restricting these unallocated reserve or private ASN ranges shouldn't be part of the, I mean, if nobody accept those as part of the routing entries, then why should we accept it as part of the ROA table or the route object tables?
Sunny has something to say. Sunny, please.
Thanks, Bertrand. I was just going to clarify Anupam's question in the chat there, difference between guidelines and policy. I believe Aftab and Vivek already clarified that. Unless Anupam need any more details, I can provide. Thanks.
Thank you. So the thing is, according to the poll, which less than 30% of the present people express themselves. So on this 30%, only 2/3 wants a guideline instead of a policy document. So it seems like the APNIC will not have the ability to remove the bogus entries in the Euro tables, as it's going to be just a guideline.
Yeah, the guidelines will be just as a best current practices, but we won't be enforcing that if someone still do it.
So if there's no more questions or comments, I will see you all in about 10 minutes for the next session. Enjoy your break and see you shortly. Thank you.
Sorry, Burton, what's the chair's decision on this one, on Prop 138? Sorry, I didn't catch it.
Yeah, well, the chairs have to follow the community. So the community wants it to be a guideline. 2/3 of the people who express themselves want it to be a guideline. So it has to be a guideline.
Okay, thanks, noted, Chair. Thank you.
So there's no polling for the consensus on the policy because it's not. Yeah. Jordi is expressing himself as. Yeah, well, sorry, we don't have time for that. So now it's a guideline. Well, it's going to be a guideline. There's still a position for the next open policy meeting for this guideline to become a policy, but then just to enforce to ease the APNIC enforcing the problem. Anything else? Anyone else? No? Okay. I'll see you all in 10 minutes.
Okay. Thanks all speakers and audience in this session. So we take a break to 12:15. We have around 10 minutes break. Thanks, Sunny. Thanks.
Thanks, Chingeng and Bertrand. Just to let you know, all the participants, the link will be the same for the next session. So if you like to stay in this session, you may, or you can jump on the conference chat and mingle with others, network with other peers, and make friends, new friends there. But the link will be the same for the next session. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunny.
Thank you. So we can stay here and wait.
Welcome back to this second session of the Open Policy Meeting. So we have two proposals left to discuss this afternoon. Both of them are from, no, sorry, one is from Aftab and the other one is from Jordi. Where is it? There.
So, Bertrand, sorry, this is Sunny. We have two Jordi's proposal and one Simon's proposal left for that.
Yes. Was it? Yep, three.
Yes.
Yeah, no. My keyboard was not sitting at the right place. Sorry about that. So we can start right now with proposal 139. If the author is online. SOR not required. Jordi, you have the mic. It's you.
Should be working now. Can you confirm and can you see the slides?
Yes, we can see all your screen and we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So proposal 139, SOR not required. The question is that section 5.2.1 enforces the second opinion request process, which has been confirmed by the Secretariat that usually is not being used. This process was meant for ensuring that resources are not wasted and allocated unnecessarily. However, that's already part of the job of any LIR. So trying to say, hey, you do your job and we will verify every time is not a good thing, especially because there is already a general audit process that at any point the Secretariat can review if you are doing the things correctly, right? Further to that, this was meant basically thinking on IPv4, which we know is exhausted, and there is no meaning to continue doing that for IPv6. So what is the objective of this policy change? Obviously, avoiding a process that is not very often used, almost never. Other readers don't have this process, or it's optional, or also it's not used. And how we approach that? Well, basically, there are 3 sections in the policy manual. The first one is resource management. We just need to remove the second opinion for the NIRs. Then the main section, which is the one explaining this, is 5.2.1, which is completely removed. And then finally, there is also a section 5.2.3, which is also removed. So the advantages, obviously, we don't have a process that it's redundant, it's unnecessary, it's not being used. There are no disadvantages on the proposal, at least I cannot see none. No impact on resource holders, and that's it. Very quick. Questions?
Thank you very much, Jordi. Any questions for proposal 139? If there is no questions for proposal 139, we can proceed directly to the poll. So please express yourselves. Leave another 20 seconds for any new expression. And the poll is over. So after talking with Jingheng, I have to declare that this proposal did reach consensus. So well done, Jordi. And now we go with Prop 140, update end site definition. So Jordi, whenever you're ready.
Ready?
You are ready.
Okay. So update and site definition. We have section 2.9, which was introduced a long time ago, which basically an IPv4 mindset, and does not fully works with IPv6 deployments. And even if we have modified that section several times, when we have situations with multiple sites, there may be some misunderstanding when reading the actual text. There is also the lack of a definition for what is an end user. Even almost everybody understands that, but we are making reference to end user several times in the policy manual, and we have not an actual definition. So that's basically what I am trying to do. Those changes are basically editorial clarifications because they are not actually implying actual changes on what the policies allow, but it facilitates newcomers, especially when requesting for IPv6 for multiple locations, to make sure that they are according to the policy and avoiding unnecessary questions to the Secretariat probably. So the idea is that both end site and end user are clearly defined in a more accurate way. There are other RIRs that already updated the policies on this regard. And the changes are in section 2.9, basically mentioning specifically location. Okay, so the point is that, for example, if you have an enterprise that have multiple offices, every office is a location. So you will be able to request a single /48 for every location, or a single aggregated prefix for every for the complete organization, which anyway allows you to have 1/48 for every location. Okay, again, this is not an actual change with the existing assignment processes, because you can get this already from APNIC, but I think it's very useful to have it very clear. And then we have the new section that defines what is an end user, which is basically already self-defined in the text, but it's not clear. And then we need to change one more small part of 10.1.4.1, which is mentioning that is /48 per end site. Again, this is not a change to the actual assignment process. Okay, so that has been confirmed by the Secretariat. I noticed that this time the Secretariat is not presenting the impact analysis, but it was sent to the mailing list, so that was clear. Advantages, well, making sure that the definitions are clarified and that you can obtain 1/48 for every location, which again is possible today, but this way is more clear, and there is no doubt for anyone reading the policy manual. There is no disadvantages, there is no impact on resource holders, and I put a couple of references. In AFRINIC, I did a similar policy. The wording is a little bit different, but the meaning is the same. And in RIPE is exactly the same wording, no any single word change. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordi. Any questions from the audience? Any comments? No. So if there are no comments or questions, we'll start the poll now. So if you support this proposal, express yourself. If you don't support this proposal, express yourself. And if you didn't understand, don't care, or don't have an opinion, express yourselves, please. The more the merrier. You have 5 seconds left. Okay, yeah. So let me check with Ching Hang, and I'll let you know. So, after a very long talk with Ching Hang, we are happy to tell you that Prop 140 did reach consensus at this OPM. Congratulations, Jordi.
Thank you.
2 out of 2. Next, we've got very nice proposals for you all. And who will be presenting, Simon or Aftab?
It's me, Chair, Simon.
Okay, Simon, you've got the mic. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Simon again. So this is a proposal made by me and my senior colleague, Aftab Siddiqui. You know that if you go to the ethnic IP exhaustion site, you will find there are so many IP still available in ethnic, and there are so many IP still reserved in ethnic. So what happens from the reserve, this IP comes to the available pool, and it will be distributed to the members, right? Presently, the minimum delegation size for every member is /24, and the maximum is /23. And it was coming since February 2019. From there, it was running up. Me and Aftab Bhai, we did a extrapolation with this, how the members was taking the IP. See, from there, we found that if this way we will continue delegating the IP addresses, then our IPv4 address, the whole available pool, will be exhausted in almost like August or September 2027. But the problem is that, do we need to go to that far to wait for this pool to be exhausted? Or because we know when we go to different NOGs and different conferences, we found there are so many people are asking us that they need IPv4 address, one, and also they are running so many NAT boxes because of this scarcity of IPv4. That's why we thought that why don't we give us a proposal that our community members will get an extra IP which is still lying in the ethnic pool. If you see, the size is almost like if I get 50% from the reserve pool, it will go about 18,000 of /24 IP addresses in the ethnic's available pool. So we are now proposing that if the policy approved by the ethnic EC and if the policy got consensus, then the new member will get /23 and also a /24. So it will be around like 768 IP address the new member will get. But the old member, they will also get the similar amount of IP addresses, and they have to apply, and they have to maintain the criteria which is in the section 7.0. So if any like for example, if any member, existing member has /24, that means he will get another 2/24 if he can maintain the criteria. So we try to find out what are the situation in the other regions. We didn't find any similar problem in the other regions. Some regions don't have any IP address, some have so many IP address, but they are not facing this problem. So we didn't find any similar policy. So what we are proposing right now, as I have told you, so the new members will get 768 IP address /23 plus /24, and the existing member will get the respected amount of IP addresses which they should. But there is a but. Thing is that if the whole available and reserved pool come down to 900K, that means that almost like 3,516 of /24, then the reserve, then the delegation size will again revert back to /23. After that, when the pool size will come down to 256K, that is 1000 /24, then the delegation size will be reduced to /24. But here is a catch. Now from 256, when it came down to 190K, then ethnic has a special reserve IPv4 reserve pool for future use. The size is /16. That will be added with the available pool, and it will be in the same size. It will be delegated to the members. So this is the current policy. Current policy is pretty simple. The new member delegation size is /23. Minimum is /24. So the first line, I'm not going to by line. The first line is mentioning about the new ethnic member. They will get /23 plus /24. The existing member will get the respective amount of IPv4 resources, but they have to match the criteria which is mentioned in section 7. Also, as I've told you, if it came down to 900K, the delegation size will be come down to /23. If it is come down to 256K, delegation size will be come down to /24. And when the reserve pool size is 190K, delegation size will then the /16 future reserve pool will be added with the main available pool. But if you see, this policy is two-way. For example, if anyone now, let's say the whole reserve pool came down to 900K or maybe less than 900K, and I'm new ethnic member, I got a /23 address, but all of a sudden ethnic got a huge amount of IPv resources. What will happen? The whole pool size will increase from 900K to a certain number, right? So the policy says if it is bigger than 900K, then I supposed to get /23 plus /24. On that time, as I have only /23, I can apply for a /24 to ethnic, again maintaining the criteria which is mentioned in section 7. But obviously the IPv address should be available. IPv address should be available on that time. And also then the next question comes, as it's a two-way policy that because the size will go up and it can go down, what is that, like which day I will consider? In the policy we are saying, let's say today my reserve came down to 900K. Up to today I have to take care all the applications which is in my review panel, in the host master review panel, and also the request which I received. From today up to that day, the threshold will be considered in the previous level. From the next day, it will be to the next threshold level. If I summarize everything, we try to maintain this in 4 stages. The stage 1 is more than 900K, the delegation size will be /23 plus /24. Stage 2, less than 900K, but more than 256K, the delegation size will be /23. Stage 3, less than 256K and more than 190K, it will be delegation size will be /24. And stage 4, which is less than 190K, then the /16 will be added with this pool and the delegation size will remain /24. The advantages, yes, ethnic will be, this is like a smooth allocation, and it is like a guideline to ethnic that, okay, IPv4 will go out anyway, right? So how it will go out? It will go out exhausted stage by stage, and this benefit should get to the existing member and also to the new ethnic members also, because we don't want that new people will come and they will be deprived. We don't want that. So this policy should be applied for the existing also, and also for the upcoming new members. There is a disadvantages, because we are adding a /24. Let's say if anyone is getting a /24, that means he will be announcing it as a /24, and this will increase our extrapolation is like 1.2% in the global routing table, but the current growth in the we found that is 7% every year, and the routing table size for IPv4 is increasing every year, but 1.2% is okay for big routers as of today. Impact, yes, the organization who had already become ethnic member and has a less IPv4 resources, and also can apply for the maximum delegation. So if he has /24, they can apply for another 2 /24. If we have /23, they can apply for /23 according to the policy and according to the stages. Summary. So this proposal will help the ethnic delegate a significant amount of IP resources now lying in ethnic's hand to the community who really need them right now. And the proposal will also give a stage-by-stage direction to ethnic how they will delegate these IP resources to our community. Thank you, Chair. If you have any question, me and Aftab Bhai is here, we can answer.
Thank you, Simon. There's a question from the audience. What is the current growth rate for new APNIC members getting new allocation per month, per year, whatever? I think the current growth rate is close to 0, because new 800 per year for new members. Okay.
Up to the data we have right now, so July 2021, so the new member is 201 up to July 2021. So so new member added on that month.
Yeah, it agreed with what Paul answered about approximately 800 per year. So mid-year 400. Yep. Yeah. Aftab says on average, APNIC delegating 300/24 per month. Comment from Jordi, good proposal. As soon as possible, would distribute IPv4 better. One possible improvement could be to allocate that only if IPv6 is being deployed to make sure the use of the X/24. Yeah, the policy is not complicated enough. Let's add something else on it. But yeah, I like the idea too.
I like it, Jordi.
Any more comments?
We have a hand up.
Vivek, yes.
Vivek.
Yes, thanks. Simon, very clear presentation, thanks. I have one suggestion though about the threshold, just for your consideration. So your proposal is saying that when the pool goes below 900K, the size will drop to 23. And in the event a large block is recycled and the pool goes back over 900K, we need to revert back to 23 plus 24. Now, as you know, we are publishing these stats on a website which tracks the changes to the size of this pool over time. And the recent trend shows that the size of this pool it is consistently dropping every month. And this is including all the recycling we're doing of large blocks as well. So let me just share that URL here in the chat, just in case others are interested. And I've just added up the stats for each month this year as well. Put it down here. So in Jan, we had 0.378 of a /8, dropped to 0.36 and so on. So basically the number of new delegations we're making every month is always more than what we are recovering. So, this pool shrinks. Now, within a month, it's possible we might have some slow periods where we recover more than what we delegate. But based on these stats, by end of the month, we would have always delegated more, so it will drop. So if we implement this policy as it's written, once we go below this 900 threshold, we will need to reduce the delegation size to 23. Now, if it so happens at that time we're having a slow week for delegations, it's possible this free pool might go back over 900K very quickly then, which means we have to now again increase the delegation size to 23 plus 24. And then if the stats or the trends continue how it's going now, by end of the month, it will shrink again, which means, again, we have to drop it. So this fluctuation could happen very frequently. So just a suggestion from me, instead of having this above and below threshold, if the policy says, once it drops below 900, this is the max. Once it drops below 256, this is the max. This will reduce the complexity in implementing this policy, and it'll probably also, reduce the confusion for new members who are still applying for V4 at that stage, because they will have more certainty, right? This is the size of the pool. I know I can only get this much, so let me plan my network this way, instead of hoping that maybe someday something will get recycled and I can get more. So just a suggestion from me. Thanks.
Asabai, you want to add?
So I just wrote on the chat as well. So what Vivek, you are suggesting that once you enter the stage 2, you cannot go back to stage 1. That's what you're suggesting?
Basically. My suggestion.
One
yeah,
way.
And then it applies to every other stage, that once you enter stage 3, you cannot go back to stage 2, no matter how many addresses you have in that.
Yes, because potentially we could have the same challenges each time this threshold is crossed.
Okay, so one thing is, I do understand that the addresses are not going to magically appear from somewhere, right? So it's very highly unlikely that you will be going back and forth into multiple stages. And if once we go into the stage 1, which is an extra /24, the run out should be much faster than right now. So once you leave stage 1, it's very highly unlikely that you will ever go back to stage 1 again. But I do get your point of going back to stage 2 from stage, from stage 4 to stage 3, because that size is very small, and you might end up going back and forth during the /24 and the /23, 3 and 2 from /24 and /23 cycle. So it's tricky because we can put that restriction in. I'm in favor of that as well. So because I'm a firm believer that these addresses are not going to magically appear from anywhere else. So it's not going to be a back and forth, but if there's a concern from postmaster, then that can be added. It's the only one statement. The statement says once you enter a stage, once you leave a stage, you cannot go back to the other stage, the previous stage.
Thank you, FTAB. We've got a very good comment from Paul. Thank you, Paul. There may be larger returns in the future if everyone moves to the V6. And under the current reclamation in Florida in the future, if so, there may be a need to move again to larger allocations. So, the last /8 policy has been modified and amended so many times. It's just evolving with the situation. But yeah, Paul do have a point on this one. Anyone wants to comment?
So quickly on that one, I mean, I do agree with Paul, but it's not going to happen in the next 5 years, I would say. Nobody is going to return the spaces because unfortunately the IPv4 has a monetary value at the moment. So it is not going back to RIR in any way. Yes, V6 will be deployed, but nobody's going to return the address space. So, and once that cycle starts, that operators are start giving back the v4 address space to the RIR, this can be revisited by all means.
If there is no more question or comment for this proposal.
I want to add with Aftab regarding the question from Vivek. Vivek, you are right that it is a two-way policy, so it will oscillate in the smaller size. In the smaller size, it will not have any problem, but probably when somebody like for example, if anybody got /24 and all of a sudden he jump up more than 900K, he's supposed to get a /23 plus 2/24, then probably he will I don't know, it's a mental barrier. He might say that yes, why don't you, I'm getting that one because the available, you are publishing the available size and the pool size is big, but still the delegation is small. Yeah, I do agree that yes, with Aftab Bhai, that the size will not get back to that amount, but who knows. So that's why it will be complex for the host master to maintain this thing, right? You are absolutely right. But again, if it is open, then it kind of like a foolproof solution for our RIR to maintain this policy for up to like 2023, 2024. Thank you.
Thank you for the clarification, Simon. No more question or comment from the audience? Nobody raises hand. So we're gonna pull up the poll for Prop 141. So if you strongly support this proposal, tick strongly support. If you support it, tick support. If you have no opinion, click neutral. If you oppose this proposal, click oppose. And if you strongly oppose this proposal, click strongly oppose. But remember, strongly oppose means you should be speaking up because there's something really wrong with the proposal and the authors need to know. So if you don't want to speak up, please just click oppose if you don't agree with the proposal. Thank you. Yes, we will have a few minutes for open mic, Jordi. Leave it a few seconds more. I don't know if you can change your vote once you've voted. Maybe someone from APNIC staff will be able to clarify this.
Don't think it's possible, Bertrand.
Thank you, Sunny. So no, sorry, Arash, no can do. 3, 2, 1, stop. So with this results and the mailing list discussions, This proposal 141 did not reach consensus. So it will go back to the mailing list because even if it didn't reach consensus, people are still talking about it, and most of the people don't really oppose the idea itself of the proposal, but more the way it's defined. So there will be good discussions for this proposal back on the mailing list. And as Jordi says, I would like to hear from the people who strongly oppose. No? No, well. So for the people who strongly oppose, the good idea would be to express yourselves on the mailing list if you don't want to do it in the room, so that the authors can benefit from the criticism. Thank you. Sorry, I'm being attacked. So we've got a bit of time. Jordi wanted to know if there was an open mic, so we will give voice to anyone who wants to talk. Jordi, you want to talk? Go ahead.
Yes. Question. I have submitted 3 other policy proposals. I understand that the agenda was already congested, but especially in one of the ideas will be that we can keep some of the policy proposals in the agenda in case there is sufficient time. That's one point. And even if they cannot be presented, accepting the proposals at least gives this chance for other people to read them and to have a discussion in the list. I know that in this list we don't have too much discussion, which is not good, but at least I think we should have the chance. But in one of the proposals, which was recovery of unused historical resources, my concern is that chairs mentioned that there are legal issues, but didn't explain it, which ones. I asked for that, I didn't got a response. Not that this is not a critique to the chairs. I understand that this may be work for the staff, but if the proposal is not formal, how the staff can provide the inputs on what is the legal issues? You understand what I am meaning? So I think we should, somehow I think the chairs are taking decisions on behalf of the community that should not be that way. But in any case, if a proposal is being not accepted because there may be legal issues, we need to know which ones, so the authors can work in improving that before a new submission. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordi. I'm looking back at the emails, but I think it was written. Can't find where it is, but where was that?
25 August.
Yeah, it's all mixed up. Well, not gonna waste everybody's time looking for an email. I agree with you on the reserved policy in case we go faster than anticipated. That might be a good idea, but the criteria for that would be that first in, first serve. Like if you come in with your prop at the latest time, then it might be just on a waiting list. Is that what you mean?
Yes, that's the idea, to have proposals formally submitted, but pending on time on the agenda. But at least there is a formal discussion in the list if there is no time for discussion in the agenda.
Okay, I'm just reading the other comments. First time joining, I'm not clear on the last poll. It got 42% support, but yet it was not accepted. Well, we don't use only the poll to decide if the consensus has been reached or not. We also explore all the discussions on the mailing list. And there was quite a few for this particular proposal. And if you read the poll, you will see that even though there was 42% support and 15% strongly support, it does not really reflect what was expressed on the mailing list. And therefore, the balance between the two makes it a proposal that did not reach consensus. I hope I was clear enough in my answer. Oh, thank you, Badrika. The mic is still open for a few minutes if anyone wants to talk. No? Well, then I guess it's almost time for a coffee break. Sunny, do you have anything to add, or we can close the session now?
Thanks, Bertrand. I think if you're done, we can close the session and go for a break. This is a long break. We start again at 2 p.m. and also a reminder that the 2 p.m. UTC+8, the voting will be closed. So if you haven't voted in the SIG and INRC elections, please do so before that. And we also have Stretch with Lenka happening during the break. So if you'd like to join that, please join for a few minutes and stretch out yourself before you joining the member meeting.
Well, thank you, Sunny. Thank you all, and see you after the break for the APNIC member meetings.
Thank you, Chairs, and thanks for the participation as well.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Sunny. Thanks a lot.